Monday morning shooting is a tragedy for everyone involved, including my deputies. I'd like to extend my condolences to the family and friends of Phillip Allen Baldwin. Losing a loved one is never an easy thing. At the same time, I want to ask our community to say a prayer for the deputies who were involved in the shooting. As law enforcement officers, it's always our goal to preserve life when possible. Despite the violent behavior exhibited by Mr. Baldwin leading up to his death, these men tried repeatedly to gain his compliance and to get him to surrender. My primary concern, however, is for our deputy sheriffs, emergency communications operators, and their families. I can assure you, not one of these 3 deputies involved in this shooting started their shift with the intention of taking someone's life. These situations certainly take a toll on our men and women, and it's our priority to see to their needs. We have activated our Critical Stress Incident Management Program, which is a program is an interventional tool and protocol developed specifically to help members deal with traumatic events in a healthy manner. It's a formal and highly structured and professionally recognized process for helping those involved in a critical incident to share their experiences, vent emotions, learn about stress reactions and symptoms, and give referral for further help if required. It's a confidential and educational process, sometimes called psychological first aid. While law enforcement officers are always prepared to use force, if appropriate, in the line of duty, officer-involved shootings are rare, and it's actually been 7 years since our last deputy-involved shooting. I know there will be questions as to why other methods were not used. Deputies on scene did attempt to use a taser briefly before seeing Mr. Baldwin was armed with a handgun. Tasers are only about 60% effective and at a range ideally of 15 feet or less. Mr. Baldwin continually backed away from our deputies into the shadows at a distance that far exceeds that. At this time, FDLE is conducting an investigation into our shooting per policy. However, I do intend to release a portion of the body camera footage, which we're about to play for the media and public.
They're coming.
911, what's happening to emergency?
One, Delmarva Road, there's someone banging on my door, they need help.
Delmarva Road?
Yes, ma'am, got 2 in Florida.
Do you know who they are?
Oh, no, ma'am, I do not know. No, I don't.
Do
We
they
live in a
need hand
temporary
waving?
yes, they're begging for help because someone's trying to kill them. What do I do? My daughter's freaking out.
Leave your doors locked, we're getting them out there. When deputy does get there, make sure you put the gun away.
Okay.
And it's for road protection one?
Yes, ma'am.
They said somebody's trying to kill them?
Yes. The police are on their way. Get off
They're
there.
still banging?
No. I just heard a bang a second ago, and now I'm not hearing anything. He said he has a gun.
The caller, the person outside has a gun?
Yeah, he just said someone hit his car, he says I have a gun. That's what he just said, that's what that guy just said is outside.
Okay, if everybody.
Please, I'm really scared.
We have that multiple.
Guys, get down
We
here.
have specific, trying to get you and the kids on the floor and on the ground.
Down there. Get off me now. Get down me on the ground now.
Sheriff's office unreported. You got small boys one friend here and what do you do, acting stupid? What are you doing?
He's threatening, he needs to be removed from our property before.
30 to do what?
And he's drunk and intoxicated.
Yes, ma'am, but you said he's threatening. What is he threatening to do?
You know when he took his truck, I don't even know if the truck's outside. Yeah, my boyfriend's coming in now. But he's drunk and intoxicated and he's acting irate.
What is his name?
And he's got a gun. His name is Phillip Baldwin.
Phillip Godwin? You said
Baldwin.
Baldwin. And you said he has a gun?
Yeah.
What kind of gun does he have?
What kind of gun has he got?
Handgun, shotgun?
9mm.
9mm? And is he threatening somebody with a gun? I'm sorry, I can barely hear you. You said yes? Yes. So he's starting to shoot y'all?
Or shoot himself.
Put your hands up right now. Come here. Bring your ass over here. No, don't drop your hands. I will shoot you in your face. You understand me? Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. Put your hands up. Bro, if you drop them, I'll get back there. Don't go to him. Don't go to him.
I ain't got to reach my hands up.
Where's the gun at?
What gun?
Where's the gun at?
What gun?
Phillip, come here. Grab this car. Get that car right there.
Shoot my
Better keep your hands up.
guns out of face.
Come on, get him. Drop. Phillip, you need to bring the ass right here.
So light out my face. I'm fixing to
We'll
start
just lay
shooting.
down. We're trying to get until 12, but he's walking away from us.
Hey, nowhere. Hey, so that's what I do. Walk over and get that light out my face. Hey, so,
Don't move. Move. Where's the gun? You fuck. Don't move your goddamn head. Don't move right now.
We still have many unanswered questions, but what we do know is that Phillip Baldwin was armed with a 9mm firearm. We received 2 calls regarding Mr. Baldwin's behavior starting at 11:30 p.m. Friday evening about an armed carjacking in the area of Shell Harbor Road. As deputies were investigating that call, about an hour later, another call was received involving a disturbance in the 300 block of North 2nd Street in Satsuma, in which Mr. Baldwin was threatening others with a gun. As you can see, the video begins with deputies arriving at the scene and engaging with Mr. Baldwin. After the video plays, there are a couple of frames that replay slower and still frames of what deputies actually saw in the seconds before they had to make a deadly force decision. This is Mr. Baldwin retreating, as indicated on the video. This is Mr. Baldwin with a gun clearly in his hands, exposed and ready to engage deputies and fire at them. I'm now happy to answer any questions you have about the video or about this incident.
Sheriff, it's not every day that deputies here in Putnam County have to draw their weapon, let alone shoot and kill a suspect. How are those 3 deputies doing today?
Given the circumstances, I think they're doing very well. I've had an opportunity to engage in some conversation with all of them. And as we said earlier, we'd have activated our peer support team to make sure that they're adequately cared for and taken care of.
Sheriff, when you see the image of him grabbing the gun, how does it make you feel the fact that you're not up here talking about a deputy being injured or killed at this point?
It makes my blood run cold. You know, our goal is for our deputies to go home every night at the end of their shift, and clearly Mr. Baldwin had other intentions.
I want to ask about the carjacking scene. It was an hour, the first call. How is that connected? How do we know that that was Baldwin that was involved with that?
We actually have an independent witness. Some of that is still under review right now with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and in their investigation, so we'll be able to release more details as soon as their investigation is concluded.
So the car that we see him getting out of, is that the car that was involved in the first call along Shell Harbor?
I'm not certain, like I said, that's still under review, and I'm not able to provide any additional facts about that at this time.
Do we know where he got the gun? Because I think based on a background check, he was a convicted felon. Do we know where he got this gun?
Mr. Baldwin does have a significant criminal history with us, and we do hope to learn the origins of that firearm as this investigation develops.
When deputies arrived at Shell Harbor, what did they see there? Because it sounds like he might have already gone to the next location, 2nd Street.
He had already departed from that location. We've had multiple opportunities to speak with the victim of the carjacking since then, who was absolutely terrified following that encounter with Phillip Baldwin.
Is he also a suspect in a stolen vehicle situation at the house where he was living? I know when we spoke with the woman who called 911, she told us that when they went out to, because he had lived with them for so long, and that when they went out to dinner, they came back, her boyfriend noticed that his truck had been missing, and they thought that he stole that vehicle because they said eventually it was found and pounded.
That may well be the case, and again, we hope to learn some more details about that throughout the investigation as it develops.
Do we know who all he was threatening prior to deputies arriving? Was it just the people that were in the house, or was it other people in that neighborhood?
I'm not certain about the number of people or exactly who that was. Again, we hope that throughout this investigation and in cooperation with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, we'll be able to provide additional information and answers about that.
How unusual is it to have a chain of events like this? I mean, you get one 911 call, then within like maybe an hour later, another 911 call involving the same suspect. It sounds like there's something that doesn't happen every day in Putnam County.
It certainly doesn't. Certainly we deal with individuals where we receive multiple 911 calls about prior incidents, but certainly this is definitely not an everyday occurrence for us.
Sheriff, the second call on 2nd Street was kind of hard to hear at times from the caller, and we heard the 911 operator asking them to repeat things. The cell service out there is not great. Just want to know if there's any concern about some of the rural parts of the county like that where cell service is tough and getting a call through 911 and getting information relayed?
Sure. So cell service has actually improved substantially in Putnam County over the last 5 to 7 years. There's still some improvements that need to be made. The volume on the 911 call was certainly much lower than what we would have liked to have seen, and she may have experienced some service interruptions. We're not entirely certain though.
Do you think an event like this will lead county leaders to push for more expansion of cell networks?
We're continually working with some of the network providers to improve service areas throughout the county.
Sheriff, for someone like me watching that video, there's so much happening in such a short amount of time. Can you talk about some of the training that these deputies go through when they're dealing with a situation like this to make the best call that protects themselves and everyone around them at the same time?
Sure. These type of deadly force scenarios are fortunately something that we deal with on a very infrequent basis. As I mentioned earlier, our last deputy-involved shooting was in 2017 down in Crescent City. But our deputies are continually training to deal with scenarios like this. As you can see, they tried to establish some dialogue with Mr. Baldwin prior to him retreating, but at the end of the day, we knew that we were dealing with an armed carjacking suspect who had just committed a violent crime and victimized a poor innocent person prior to this.
Did any deputies actually draw a taser at any point and realize he was out of range? Because you mentioned that earlier.
There was actually one deputy sheriff who actually had his taser while the other deputies were providing lethal cover with their firearms. Unfortunately, Mr. Baldwin made the decision to pull that firearm out of his waistband.
I know that the 911 caller had told us that she had noticed a change in his behavior starting about a month ago, and that I guess he had been seeking professional help prior to all of this. Did deputies at all know that he was having any kind of problems? Because like you said, he's known to the sheriff's office.
He is known to the sheriff's office and has a significant criminal history with us. However, a search of our records databases here don't indicate any type of mental illness that we were made aware of.
We talked with a witness on Shell Harbor Road who mentioned that he saw 3 people running back and forth. Is there anything to right now indicate that there were multiple people involved in that carjacking, the first call?
While that's certainly a possibility, we don't have any indication to suggest that there was anyone other than Mr. Baldwin who committed that armed carjacking.
Gotcha. And then he had a power line knocked over in his yard. I think sheriff's deputies called to get the power line fixed. I mean, any details as to, because he had a surveillance camera cut, he also had his water line broken, just a lot of property damage. I mean, did you guys have any details on property damage as a part of the carjacking?
No, we didn't. We hope to learn some more of those details as this investigation unfolds. Any other questions?
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.